right along to our three pack, and I mean, if you listen to the podcast long enough, you know I love marketing and I love the psychology of marketing. And it's not just a simple, oh, I'm just going to throw some stuff up on Facebook and wonder why I'm not getting 10 deals a month and so forth. So we're going to kind of dig deep into my philosophies and keeping in mind, I've been doing this for now 20 years, and
Long
so
time.
this has just been an evolution of where I've come from and how I tackle my marketing strategies. And it really just starts with understanding, like, who is my target market? Who am I going after? And I think one of the misnomers when we're in sales is we can't be for the masses. And so when we start, it's that old adage of you throw up, enough stuff up against the wall, something's
Some
about
sticks.
the stick. And when you start and you appeal to the masses, then you're just hoping and praying to get lucky and hoping that something is going to stick. And it's pretty much how I got married. I mean, dated enough girls, threw enough opportunities out there, and it did stick with one of them. So,
Wow.
yeah. Anyways, but she's not
I'm
listening.
cutting this out. We're going to send this over to Mindy.
Yeah, right away.
Um, so you have to understand, not everyone is going to work with you. Not everybody's going to want to work with you, and that is okay, because you are not you're not going to please everybody. You're not going to be able to attract everybody. And so the larger your audience is, then the more that you're going to hear the word no. And when we are marketing and we're targeting everybody and anybody, we used to say, who's your target, who's your ideal buyer? Well, anyone with a pulse and a FICO score. Well, it's not necessarily
Fog of
true.
mirror.
But when you're targeting so many people and you're trying to appeal to the masses, you're going to keep hearing the word no. You're going to keep feeling that sense of rejection, in which that's not really a proper way to market yourself anyways. So I start off, and this is part of my annual business plan, but do the numbers and determine how many people do you need to attract? How many wins? How many yeses? How many closings do I need to have each year for me to meet my goals? And for me, I know every year these are the number of transactions that I must have, I need to have, and I won't even really go above those because I don't want to take away from the time that I need to invest in running a team. But it's nice to know that this is my target. This is how many transactions I need to have this year, and now I've got a goal, something to work towards.
My salutation in my email is live life on purpose. And the reason is because,
Salutation, it's a geography term, right?
yeah, exactly. Call it a signature, if you will, for the people that don't know geography. And so the thing here is that you can be more specific. If I'm going to take 3 hours out of my day or 4 hours and say, just hold an open house in an example. And I'm not going to put signs up. I'm not going to pick the house in the morning. I'm not going to, go put signs up and then be there from 11 to 3. Well, I could. Let me change that. Sure, I could. Something's better than nothing. But to Mike's point, we're going to be sitting waiting for the odds of life to show up. And again, it's a pretty good chance if somebody does show up, they at least are excited about real estate, but that doesn't mean they're ready and willing. So the biggest issue here is target. If you don't know how many leads you have to get today or this week or this month, you need to stop by the coaching department and you need to have a conversation with them. There's an Excel business planning spreadsheet they have that will actually pinpoint and tell you to the number how many people you got to meet every day to hit your goals.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's the number one thing is it right here. I mean, it's the last bullet point on here, but it's the place that you would need to start is if you don't know how many people to talk to, which will turn into how many leads, which turns into how many closings, which turns into what your commission goals are, your volume goals are, your unit goals are. If you're new into real estate and making money is really, really important because you don't have another job, your commission should be the number one thing that you're trying to figure out. And these Excel spreadsheets, these coaches can do that for you. If you have figured out how many people to talk to and you're out on social media, you're out doing email blasts and you're not getting a response back, your demo is wrong. The demographic that you're sending these things to, or the message that you're
There you
sending out,
go.
isn't hitting and isn't resonating with the
Love
people
it.
you're sending it to. So there's a lot of different pieces. I mean, again, we could talk about point one for an hour, but those would be the two major points that I think we definitely need to hit
Yeah.
on.
And knowing how many people, how many closings you need helps you track
My
as
gosh.
well. Because I know whether I'm on pace, whether
Yep.
I'm off pace. And if I'm off pace, I need to re-examine, to Nick's point, my messaging, or maybe I'm just not spending enough time prospecting. Because one of our sayings on our team is, your pipeline's always a direct reflection of your phone activity. And when my pipeline is weak, I know I'm not working the phones. But then it leads into the second point: know who you're for. Like who is your target market? Who is your ideal client? And for me, it starts with, who can I help? Who's that type of person that I can help? Who's that type of person that I want to work with? What's the psychology behind them? Where are they at in life? Where do they live? What is the price point that my ideal client is looking for? And so for us, and for me, I'm more focused on the wealth building aspect. And so my target market is somebody who wants to build wealth in real estate, somebody who wants to go beyond just buying and selling a home. I want to work with that person who wants to truly build wealth in real estate. And it's a sense of freedom, because if I know who I'm for, and you don't meet that buy box, and you're not interested in building wealth, well, then I'm
Yeah.
not for you, type of thing. But and so for me, the person who wants to build wealth, what do they believe? I think traditionally they believe that Social Security is not going to be around for them. They believe that the government's not going to take care of them when it comes down to retirement. How does this person think? What are the things that they want? And then where are they? Where is my target market? And so for me, in my target market and who I'm for, doesn't not necessarily going to be all my neighbors. I don't necessarily have to canvas my entire neighbor. I don't have to do these certain things, because I know where my person is, where my people are.
Yeah, absolutely. This goes again, this is probably one of the more intuitive slides we've had in a long, long time, because each of these could be a 3-hour class almost. But, looking at this particular one, who you're for, why did you get into real estate in the very beginning? I mean, was it because you had really bad service from someone and you said, hey, if they're going to get paid what it says on my net sheet that they're going to get, and that's the level of service, I want to do that because I think I can deliver better service than that person does, or whatever. Well, that may have left a clue. And the clue is, if the passion is in providing to a segment that you once were in based on the service that you received, bam, now when you look in the mirror what you're all about. But you can't, it's hard to be about first-time home buyers and be about luxury home buyers.
Right.
You know what I'm just saying? I mean, it's like, if you wanted to go catch salmon, you're not going to get them but there are fish in Lake Pleasant. You're just not going to catch a salmon there.
And that's why when you talk to a commercial agent, they're not dealing with residential, because their target audience is somebody who's looking at commercial.
Right.
And then even that, with commercial, you can break that down into all different types of commercial. But I like your point as far as the luxury. Luxury is its own thing. If that is your focus, you're looking for that luxury buyer. So you got to break it down. Who are they? What and what
And they need to hear every different thing that you put up here.
Well, I think the one thing that I've seen with a lot of our top producers is it also can be, again, geography. Based on where you live, it can be your specialty. If you're in a specific part of the valley and you want to farm that neighborhood, we have top producers that work in a 1 mile square radius. They just do it so well. That's their area, and they don't have to worry about doing these massive ad campaigns. They work in this little zip code, this little neighborhood, this cul-de-sac community, and they're crushing, and they're going to do 50 to 75 transactions a year, all based in that little area. And then those turn into referrals. And at that point, they make the decision for their business. Are they going to work those? Are they going to give them to somebody else and just get some passive income? But being intentional, being focused, will allow you to become a top producer, because you're not running around trying to be the jack of all trades and the master of none. That's not something you will show success in real estate.
Mike, does the next one have to do with what you're sending out?
No.
Okay. So, Nick, back to your point on number one, though, real quick. You said maybe you're sending the wrong message.
Yep.
The thing is that if if you're posting a picture of yourself, and say you're a 63-year-old guy like me, and you post a picture of yourself, and then the language that you're using doesn't, between the photo and the language doesn't resonate with your 28 to 37-year-old buyer you're trying to capture, guess what?
Yep.
You didn't select the demographic properly.
Right. And then not feedback is feedback. If no one's
Right.
responding to that message,
That
then
is-
you're maybe swinging
Yeah.
at the wrong fish.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's you can Google this too. It's a great exercise I have somewhere of building your own persona.
Yeah.
Like go through that exercise and just Google building a persona, of who, you start drawing it out. You could even do it with pictures and what's the income level look like, and where do they live, and what's their education background. It's one of the reasons why, one, I use Forewarn all the time because I can do a lot of background check on my people, but it's also my type of buyer. My type of client tends to be on LinkedIn. So I focus a lot on LinkedIn as opposed to other things. And I do a lot of my research because that's just where where my people are.
Sure.
So know who you are for, begin to build that persona. And then the last one is you got to be able to say, I'm not your cup of tea.
Yeah.
Okay, when I know who my target audience is and I know who I'm for, and it doesn't mean that if I'm focused on a specific zip code and somebody in the next zip code wants to hire me, doesn't mean that I don't work with them. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you just figure out where your target zip code is, and that's where you focus your attention on, or your target audience. But not everybody is going to want to work with you. And I know, because I'm very very specific in what I'm trying to accomplish. And we have a question we ask every single one of our team members, but also every one of our clients. And the question is do you like money? And depending on your answer, and everybody will say that they like money. If you say you don't like money, then you're definitely not my cup of tea. You're definitely not my target audience, because when I'm helping you build wealth in real estate, that's really about
money.
It's really becomes about money and legacy and what you're leaving behind for your family and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, when I make my pitch, and this is what I do, and this is what differentiates me from other real estate agents. If you then do not want to hire me and you don't want to engage in me, then you're telling me you don't like money.
Right.
Because I'm going to help you make money. And if you walk away and you don't want to use me, that is okay, because we're not seeing eye to eye at the very beginning, and you need to be okay with it. But when there are people that do meet my buy box, I like to call it a buy box, and then they don't want to work with me, then I got to dig deep and figure out
Self-reflect.
where that messaging, what did I do wrong?
Yeah. What wasn't on purpose? The other piece about this right here is that and I'd like to tell just a quick story about a listing presentation. You go to a listing presentation, you're brand new, it's your first listing presentation. You are so thankful that the stars aligned and you now have an opportunity to pitch that seller. And you've pitched the seller, and the seller, is a difficult negotiator and blah blah blah. But you take the listing because it's your first listing, and oh my gosh, you just got to figure a way to get along. And then at some point in your career, you go out to a listing, same person, and you go out to a listing and you hear the consumer saying that, and you say, wait a minute, based on my experience, anybody who starts the conversation off this way doesn't end up being a good client of mine. And it ends up being a pain in my butt. It ends up taking much more time. I sometimes even end up losing that listing maybe anyway. And then the person who comes in and relists it gets everything I tried to obtain the first time. So the very first time you can look at a seller and say, you know what? I would like your business, but I don't need your business. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I'm going to walk away. Thank you very much for your time. We just are too far apart, and I don't see that there's going to be any opportunity for you and I to really come to the right conclusion or somewhere in the middle. So thank you very much for your time. Get up and walk away. And the first time you can do that, I always say to people, welcome to real estate, because prior to that, you're a slave to the game.
Yeah, you're being intentional. The last thing that I would just say on this is these are not infinite decisions that you're making for yourself and your business. These things can evolve
Point
and
in time.
change over time based on where you're at in your real estate
Absolutely.
career, your experience, your wisdom. So please, if you're looking at this going, oh my gosh, I have to make this decision that's going to impact the rest of my real estate world. No, that's not. This
Good
is where
point.
you are right now. And again, if you're looking at this stuff saying, I don't know where to start, we have a fantastic individual sitting on the other end of the table, which is where you should be starting.
Good